So a friend sends me an article today from the Irish Times. Now, if you don't know, the Irish Times is probably slightly to the left of Joseph Stalin. It is so left-wing that if you were to get the editorial staff and all the journalists, there wouldn't be enough helicopters in Ireland to throw them out of. That's how left-wing it is. Now, and that's not saying because I'm a right-winger or anything like that. I'm just saying I have no time for either side. But that's how left-wing the Irish Times is. There was an op-ed piece today in the Irish Times that was written by an individual called Maria Steen, and I couldn't find her bio. But I suggest she's probably like involved with Opus Dei or something like that. But it's, I'm assuming. She makes the claim that the climate cult is a pagan cult. Now, I could not imagine anything more Abrahamic than the climate change agenda. They want a one world rule. They want an abolition of all tribes. They want the climate god itself. They want to have a judgment day like Revelations, a rapture. They have penance like your carbon sins. That's what your carbon credits are, penance, just like you have in Catholicism. They have the damned carbon people, the ones who waste carbon. They're the sinners, like carbon sinners. And then they have the sainted ones. Their wind turbines are gigantic crucifixes. If you look, they're down in the mountains near me, they have built a disgusting wind turbine that's it's the size of a skyscraper. It's absolutely enormous. It must be the tallest building in the west of Ireland, in a beautiful, pristine, wild mountain area. If you look at the biggest, you look at the Phoenix Park in Dublin when the Pope arrived, there's a gigantic white crucifix. Both the gigantic white crucifix and the wind turbines look just like each other. They look like giant crucifixes to me when they're not spinning. By the way, when those turbines start up, they need a diesel engine, and they use something like 15 tons of lubricant a year, each one. There's nothing more anti-green or anti-green than a wind turbine, but the wind turbine doesn't serve the purpose of generating electricity. It is a crucifix that the middle class, the sanctimonious, Greta Thunberg loving middle class can bless themselves by, going, we're so ecologically and environmentally. It's a crucifix. Just like in the old days, the old ladies used to bless themselves going by the church. Now the middle classes do the same thing, going by the wind turbines. Sustainability, right? That's the Irish Times for you, right? Now, she claims that they're sacrificing people to the carbon. They're saying that the population reduction is human sacrifice. Well, of course it is. But Abrahamics have practiced more human sacrifice than anyone else. Holy war, jihad, the Crusades, the first three, the two Crusades in the Middle East, the three Swedish Crusades to wipe out the pagans in Eastern Europe, Karelia in Eastern Europe, Albanese crusade to wipe out the Cathars. There's nothing, then you have numerous jihads, numerous the sword of Islam. Abrahamics are the undisputed masters of human sacrifice by their gods. And that before we get to the religious wars like the Reformation and just about everything else, and also the Shiite Sunni thing within Islam. They're the worst of all, the absolute worst. And they have the audacity to claim that this is the climate thing is pagan, and therefore the reason why it's pagan is because it does human sacrifice. And this, I had a feeling this would come along. There is nothing more Abrahamic than this climate. We even have like Greta Thunberg. She is the Virgin Mary of the movement. That's what their little Virgin Mary. That's what they have. There's nothing like that in paganism. Paganism don't have martyrs. They don't have penance. They don't have the sacrifice within paganism is exactly what real environmental is. If you were to ask an Abrahamic, you must make a sacrifice for saving the environment, what they would do is we impose carbon taxes and we put wind turbines all over areas of natural beauty. You ask a pagan, we must sacrifice for the planet. They'll plant a vegetable garden. They'll stop buying less consumer products, and they will find other ways to generate electrical power. But they'll also do things like, if they can avoid the matrix, they'll go to bed when it gets dark and wake up when it gets bright. They will reduce resource use by abiding by the natural cycles of the world. For instance, on a full moon, they'll work out late at night, if they're working in their yard or something like that. That's what a pagan does. What an Abrahamic does is impose sin, tithes, penance. That's what they do. So even for this woman, Maria Steen, in the Irish Times, to claim that the environmental movement is a pagan cult, there's nothing more. It is a Christian global crusade. That's what the whole environmental movement is. The Christian global, this is why the popes all support it, this is why all the major churches support it and are obsessed with it, by the way, and this is why they're holding this new Virgin Mary Greta Thunberg up against you. This is why you people of the books held up the Al Gore, An Inconvenient Truth. That was your text. Pagans don't have a text. Pagans are not people of the book. So sorry, Irish Times, nice try, but you're wrong. And you know something? It's not going to fly either.